Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new, welcome. We're going to get back into more Amberlynn Reid content today. Now quickly, before we get into it, I do have two things I want to say. First and foremost, this video is going to be a Q&A part 2, and these ones are specifically yes or no questions, so Amber is only going to say yes or no depending on the answer. And honestly, I think we should be able to really interpret how Amber would perceive the questions and really answer the questions if it wasn't just yes or no, because I mean Amber herself is pretty much an open book, and most of the times we can guess what she is thinking. And the second thing is, this is going to be the last, or probably the last video of the month. So our cute little Halloween guy is going to be changed back over to our original one. And then in December, we're going to be following up with a Christmas theme one for the whole month until the end of the year. And I probably should have done it a little bit earlier for October, but I didn't really think about it until like halfway through. So I do apologize. I'll make sure we'll do some more better, thematic ones next year. But we'll get to that when we can, but we'll get into the questions now. All right, so starting off with the first question, which is, do you speak to your dad? Which Amber follows up with, no. And honestly, I feel like Amber is being really short with her answers, and she's being very almost condescending and aggressive, and you'll see it in a lot more of the other questions. Like, some people will call her out, and they phrase it in a way that leaves it open to her being just so condescending, and she just runs with it and turns into a massive bitch, honestly. But talking about her dad, I think the last time she talked to him was right before she moved, and then before that it was like her brother telling her that her father was in hospital because of a health scare, and she more so didn't really care. She used it more like as an excuse to cry on the internet about, oh, poor me, woe was me, toe crap. All right, moving on to the next question, which is just so goddamn pointless. Would you dye your hair again? And she goes, yes. Okay, cool. Whatever. Moving on to the next question we have, is Tommy the most attractive partner you have? To which Amber replies, obviously, yes. I'm pretty sure most of us who have spent enough time in the Amberverse really understand how it works with her, and every relationship that is current is the best relationship until another one comes along, and then all of a sudden there are issues that arise in that relationship. And with Amber, it's never her fault, it's everyone else's fault, and she's always blindsided because she doesn't care about the other people. And I've said it before, but narcissistic people only view other people not as human beings, but as either extensions of themselves, which is either usually family members or their loved ones, or you're an object to gain something from. If you are not one of those two things and you are not giving her what she wants, then she doesn't care about you. She can get rid of you as quickly as you come into her life because she doesn't have the ability to form the proper connections most people do. And Amber is always going to view people in her relationships as just objects to give her love, attention, and validation. And, it's always going to be, you're good for now until you're no longer around, and then you are the worst type of person. And that's how Amber always functions. We see it with every single relationship that she has had on YouTube. Moving on to the next question we have, do you have any vlogs recorded waiting to be posted? And Amber says no, and honestly I don't know whether or not to believe her, because she has done that before and she has kind of tried to play it off as if they are up to date, and I think it's more so the fact that there's not really much of a reason to lie, but Amber will lie just for the sake of lying. She's a very compulsive liar, so I mean it doesn't really matter that much whether or not she does, but I just don't necessarily believe her because she's a compulsive liar. Moving on to question 5, we have, are you coming back to YouTube? And Amber says yes, and this is just one of the pointless questions that I'm talking about, because why else would you, why would you need to ask that question? Because we all know that Amber isn't going to do anything else. Like, do you honestly think she's ever going to get a 9 to 5? Like, can you imagine her becoming a barista or working at McDonald's or going into retail? Like, Amber would do that for maybe 2 or 3 days, then give up. Like, obviously she's coming back to YouTube because she needs money eventually. Moving on to question 6, we have, do you have a commonplace journal? Which Amber says yes, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe a commonplace journal is just a journal sitting in the sitting room where people can have access to it and just write in it. So it could be Amber, it could be Tommy, it could be the daughter, it could be like a family friend or a friend, or just anyone who comes to the house who may want to write down their pointless thoughts for Amber to read. Question 7 we have, is a mukbang video on the way or is one in the future? I missed those videos. And then Amber replies, no. Amber has already stated multiple times that she's not going to do mukbang videos, even if she may want to, because people are just going to negatively judge her for it, which makes a lot more sense because if she starts doing mukbangs, especially now that she's dating a feeder, then that's just going to be all hell is going to break loose. The internet is going to be down Tommy's throat the entire time, which completely understandable, but at the same time, I don't know why people would want the 500-pound woman to continue eating or eating on camera, because that's kind of goes against people really ragging on her in the first place for continuing to fail diets. All right, moving on to the next one, which is, have you binged lately? And then Amber replies, no. Now, I want to speak on this one specifically because I have family members who are addicts, and they do this thing, which is kind of like, it's a twisting of words like Amber does, and it's like when you ask them, okay, when's the last time you had X? And they go, well, we haven't had X in over a week. And it's like, all right, cool. Because you don't want to or because you don't have access to it? And it's always because I don't have access to it. And I know this sounds a little weird because we're talking about Amber's ED, but I believe what it is that Amber is essentially not binging because she doesn't have the urge to binge. Not because she's overcome her ED, but because she's having all of her urges met, and so therefore she doesn't need to binge. And it's like, what's the point of binging if you're constantly going out and eating? Like, Amber kind of tries to restrict herself, which is why she binge eats. And it's not because she doesn't want to binge eat right now, it's because she just doesn't have the ability to binge eat because she's constantly having her urges met. Next question we have, are you aware you're using the word hectic wrong? To which Amber replies, yes. I mean, this is another just pointless question because everybody knows that Amber takes on her partner's personality traits, even if she's not fully aware or cognitive of how it really works. Like, she'll take on certain traits without fully understanding what the trait itself means. Same with quirks. Amber will take on certain words or certain phrases or even certain things that people do, and she will not understand why the person does it, but then she will do it too and try to mimic it the exact same way. So Amber's going to use the wrong words, but it doesn't matter because it's not for her to intend to use it the right way. It's because she's leeching off her partner's personality type. Moving on to the 10th question, which is, would you ever visit Chicago? And then Amber replies, yes. And honestly, I don't care. I don't even know why I even have it in here, honestly. Question 11, Lana Del Rey fan? Again, yes. And the only thing I have to say is, second verse, same as the first. I just do not care. Moving on to the next question, we have, do you like Milwaukee when you visited? And I do hope that I'm pronouncing Milwaukee right. I'll probably put in too much emphasis on one part of the word because of my accent, but I do hope that I'm pronouncing it right at least. And then Amber replies, yes. And I mean, I don't really have anything to add to the conversation. Moving on to question 13, we have, would you take Cam over Chelsea in BB to Final 2 if you were MJ 750k choice? And Amber says yes. What the hell does that even mean? Oh, BB, is that supposed to be Big Brother? And Cam Chelsea. All right, I don't watch Big Brother. I don't watch any reality TV show because it's just the downfall of society, honestly. Like, we make stupid people famous for no apparent reason other than stupid shit, and we do that way too often, and we really got to stop. But I'm assuming this is Big Brother, and Amber is saying yes because she likes Cam over Chelsea, and I have no idea what the hell really any of that is about because I haven't watched Big Brother since, like, high school. Moving on to question 14, we have, do you like Geordie? Which I'm assuming is Oh Lordy, it's Geordie. And Amber replies, no. And if I had to guess, I would say, because I don't watch his channel, that it would probably be because Amber doesn't like the fact that she gets called out, which kind of leads way to me wondering what she would think of me and my channel. I would feel like she would probably hate the things I have to say. Question 15, do you like Indian food? Amber says yes. I have nothing to say, so we're just gonna sit here in silence for a moment. Question 16. Do you like sweet tarts? To which Amber says no, and that's a bold-faced lie, probably. Moving on to question 17, we have you struck another YouTube creator in the last 2 months? To which Amber says no. And if I had to guess, I think Amber herself has somewhat learned her lesson, I think, because she has gotten enough flack that she's kind of decided that it's not really worth it. So I think she's honestly telling the truth here. Question 18, we have, is there any reaction channels you like? To which Amber replies, yes. And I think this is her kind of putting her foot in her mouth, or at least her thumbs anyway, or in this case, because I thought she doesn't watch reaction channels. Usually when, she finds out that someone said something, it's always, Instagram comments. It's never because she watches people, because she doesn't care what other people think about her. Question 19 is, do you like Zachary Michael? To which Amber says yes, and honestly, I think it's mostly because he is a kind person that has that extra level of respect for Amber, and really anyone he talks about. Like, even though he has his criticisms, he never goes to the point of being disrespectful in any way. And there are a bunch of channels like that, but we do like to poke at fun. I mean, I myself went about 5 videos before I just started just dogging Amber and Foodie, because honestly, those women are just insufferable at the best of times. Alright guys, sorry, it is a new day. I had to get some stuff done, so I had to cut the video short. We're going to be getting back into the questions now. And the next one is, if you had the chance to speak directly to Mr. Snowflake, like over the phone, would you? And Amber says yes. Which, I mean, is to be expected, because we all know how Amber would act. She'd get on the phone call, she would probably try acting all high and mighty, and then once she gets a little bit of pushback, she'll start throwing shade, and then it'll be the crocodile tears, and then it'll be the excuses. I have BPD, I have an ED, I'm morbidly obese, and people hate that because they're fat phobic. I'm a lesbian, I'm a woman, people shouldn't be judging me on my body, people shouldn't be judging me on certain actions because of those things. And then after that, she'll probably have to do some damage control, which will be probably a 10-part series of her just crying and, crocodile tears, sucking up the, views and money she potentially get from maybe either, the videos or the live streams she makes. And it'll just be a big circle of repeating the same thing over again when she gets into another scandal. On to the next question, which is, do you journal with bullet points and stickers? And Amber says no, which I'm pretty sure Amber has done that before, and she said that she's done scrapbooking with Jade. So, I mean, scrapbooking is often used in tandem with journaling, so I would assume that she probably has done some of that stuff. Now, ultimately, it doesn't really matter, and I think this is kind of probably her question from maybe like a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old that follows Amber, so I'm not going to judge this person too harshly. Let's just pretend they're 13, 14, knowing that they're probably just like Amber, severely mentally regressed, but we'll just pretend they're a 13-year-old. Moving on to the next question, which is, have you ever been hit on by a stranger in public? And she says yes. Now, I mean, this is another pointless question, because if you are actually a fan or even a hater of Amber, you would know that she spent a whole year every single day nearly going out, and she was hit on by every single person, including doctors and receptionists and random men that she liked to entertain, even though she is a lesbian, and random strangers at like bingo and the casino and when she's getting drinks, because she's just that unbelievably hot that every time she goes out, someone wants to get in that. Let's just move on to the next question. Alright, so we have, do you believe in karma? To which Amber says yes. Now, me personally, I don't believe in karma. I think people kind of will it into existence, but if it did exist, Amber, you probably would have had a lot worse to deal with in your lifetime, because you are such a terrible person. Now, I don't want anything bad happening to you, but if karma did exist, it would definitely hit you back tenfold for everything you have done to all of your exes. Next question, are you in a vehicle right now? To which Amber says yes. And, I mean, okay, cool, moving on. Was your aforementioned poly relationship before you started YouTube? To which Amber replies, yes. Now, me personally, I'm not in a polyamorous relationship, nor would I ever really be polygamous in any way. I wouldn't be in an open relationship or a multiple person relationship, because I just don't like that. I mean, I have a hard enough time pleasing one person. Could you imagine me trying to force myself to try pleasing more people than that? It's hard enough dealing with one person. That being said, Amber was never in a polyamorous relationship, because she tries to force people into being an open relationship when they don't give her what it wants. Now, those people do not agree unless they are being forced, which is not consensual, because you cannot force consent. And the most important thing in a polyamorous relationship is consent and communication. Amber can't do those two things, so therefore it wasn't a polyamorous relationship, it was an abusive relationship that Amber opened under the guise of an ultimatum. So we're not even doing that right now. Moving on to the next question, which is, do you love your supporters? To which Amber replies, yes. Now, that's just a bold-faced lie. Actually, no, wait, I'm going to change that. she's telling the truth, but not in the way that people think. She doesn't love her supporters as individuals that watch her content and allow her to have a lifestyle that she has. She likes her supporters as much as a view count. You are just a number that gives her what she wants: attention, validation, and money. That's it. Alright guys, we're down to the last 3 videos, so hopefully she doesn't make any more, because these are worse than her videos, honestly. But let's just get them over and done with. We got number 1, which is, are you planning on getting therapy for your BPD? To which Amber says yes. Now, Amber says yes, and the thing is, she may well get therapy, although I believe she has been accused, or there are assumptions based on her not actually getting therapy, but going to like chat GPT or whatever it was. And I don't know whether or not that's true, but to me it doesn't matter, because Amber is only going to doctor shop to get the therapist that she wants. And by that I mean essentially she doesn't want actual criticism in order to change herself and benefit her life and really become a better person. She just wants validation. Like, she's not going to actively take the criticism on board, because she's perfect in her own mind. Like, she has no issues. Why would she need to change when other people could change and see her in a better light? That's her mentality. So whether or not she goes to therapy doesn't matter, because she's not actually going to put in effect the therapy and the things that she learns. Like, it's useless, because she's not going to take it on board. It's just going to go in one ear and out the other. The second last question is, have you seen the fan art or hate art that has been made lately? It's disgusting. Love you so much. Amber says no, and honestly, neither have I. I didn't even know someone would be taking their time in order to make fan art of Amber. But I can only assume it's probably going to be horrendously bad. But since I haven't seen it, I can't criticize it or comment on it. I would assume that it's probably pretty bad, and if Amber hasn't seen it, I haven't seen it, and I don't think like most people have actually talked about it. I think it's not really that big of a deal. Last question is, will you ever grow up? To which Amber replies, no. Now, in any other context, it'd probably just be played off as a joke, but with Amber, obviously it is a joke too, but with her, it's less funny, because she is very mentally stunted, and she comes off as a teenager who's never really, even a preteen that has never really gotten out of that phase. And for someone who is 33, 34, who isn't physically or mentally or emotionally capable of taking care of themselves, it's less of a joke and more just pathetic. Just outright pathetic, honestly. And it sounds like I'm being a bit harsh, but when you have to get your mother to drive you 19 hours to your play date with your feeder girlfriend because you would rather, die after being 6, 7, 100 pounds, instead of going and getting therapy and actually working on yourself, it's just pathetic. It really is. And that's all I have to say. Like, it's not a joke. It's just sad and pathetic. Alright guys, it's going to be the end of the video. This is going to be the second part of the Q&A. I believe there is a third, fourth, and fifth part already, because she's just doing so much. We'll come back with those when I can do them. It gives a nice break in between Foodie, because honestly, Foodie is... I wouldn't say she's as bad as Amber with the drama, but she is really out there with some of the things that she says and does. And she does have her rare moments where she is genuinely funny, but at the same time, she's still a terrible person. So we'll break it up with the Q&As. But thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how I'm doing if you want, of course. Even just a little bit of context or anything that I could react to. Probably go back to the retros when I can. I keep saying that, I know, but honestly, every time I post a video, there's 2 more up. So I'm running behind, but hopefully I get to see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.